sensing this danger. This is the greatest showman! He is floating on air now! He's going to sit it back.
It's the Multicultural AFL Footy Show with Vanessa Gatica, Habir Singh Kang, Fuad Andrewas and George Grossios.
Hello, I am Vanessa Gatica and welcome to the Multicultural AFL Footy Show. Our panelists tonight are Habir Singh Khan and Fuad Andrewas. Hello guys.
Hello Vanessa.
G'day Vanessa.
Friday Night Footy from the MCG was a thriller as Collingwood downed Melbourne by 7 points. Hawthorn playing in Hobart defeated the Gold Coast by 7 points, while the GWS Giants tempted Essendon's ego to win by 27 points at Metricon. Fremantle beat the Western Bulldogs by 17 points, and Geelong did short work of St Kilda by 45 points. And over in Adelaide, Richmond defeated Port Adelaide by 38 points. On Sunday, Sydney beat North Melbourne by 38 points at the SCG, and Brisbane crushed Carlton by 33 points. While in the last game of the round, Adelaide and the West Coast Eagles fought out a thrilling game, which saw the Eagles go down by 16 points. But a great game for the West Coast Josh Kennedy, who kicked 8 goals in his final game before retiring. What do you think of the results, Javier?
Well, I would say Melbourne are in a bit of trouble. The reigning premiers, the way they're losing, that's more concerning because they're coming on top at the start, but later on not holding on to that lead. So that will be a huge concern for them. And the other huge concern would be the way Collingwood played against them and nullified the effect of Jack Lever and Stephen May. They were not able to take any intercept marks or anything like that. So that was like a huge thing because they've been the pivotal. And we all say that the defensive teams win premierships. So they are losing their way a bit, taking nothing away from Collingwood, the way they are gelling together. We keep on talking. 11 games in a row. Now I think they've just been fantastic and huge credit to their coach and the team that we are playing.
As you're saying, 11 games in a row, that's never happened since 1965. But let's not take that away from them as well. This is they won, remember they won 6 games, 6 of last 10 games under 10 points. So, but the 4 points are more important. Okay, so they're doing well. They're second at the moment. Percentage is not the greatest, but I think they'll do well.
Yeah, definitely. And Hawthorn, Gold Coast was playing in their fortress, I would say. I think that's probably what got them over the line. Gold Coast, take nothing away. They've been up there, but just haven't been able to do their performance for 4 quarters. A lot of good names coming up. Rankin is coming up, as in like he might stay or not. Marble Chal, he had a good season aside. So all in all, a lot of positive things about Gold Coast. But on the other hand, Hawks, like they've been inconsistent a little bit. Some games they just show up, and then some games you see, you wonder where they are. Good game, definitely, and good win for the Hawks.
Yeah, and Habir, I agree with you. But the only thing that I just like to mention is the Suns had 13 shots against 4 from the, of course, the Hawks, and they couldn't convert. So you can't win games like that.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot of inaccuracy there. And Giants, as you said, they definitely made a dent to their ego because Essendon should have won that game. To the GWS Giants credit, they finally answered the call for their coach. There's been few conflicting thoughts. Some people saying that the way the coach has come forward, he shouldn't have, and some have said that, oh yeah, he did the right thing. But because the player sort of responded in that manner, I think, to me, he's done the right thing, and a great win for GWS Giants, and they showed up. And Essendon, they have the potential, but I think they're ruining it for themselves.
Well, they won 5 of the last 7 games, and they were the team to beat or to win that game, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, and Bulldogs, I think I've been saying the season is pretty much over, and it's hard. Still, mathematically, they can make it, but. I wouldn't say that they've lost too many fans the way they keep coming in that game, but definitely Fremantle had all the answers. And it's Fremantle, they have surprised a few teams. They've defeated Bulldogs in the Marvel Stadium. They in early stages they've beaten Geelong in Geelong, which was like a huge thing. So Fremantle is definitely rising at the same time. I think when the other teams are like sort of going down. So it's good that they're finding their form now.
Well, on the other hand, Western Bulldogs got a better chance than the number 7 like Carlton. Carlton got 2 tough games coming up, while Western Bulldogs have got a little bit easier. But if Carlton wins the next game, well, I think it will be curtains for teams out of the 8.
Yeah, and not much surprise in the next game. Geelong, I'm against St Kilda, although St Kilda had a lot to play for. But the way Geelong are playing, they're resting their players. They are in such a comfortable space at the moment. It's amazing what they can do. And when their player comes back, it just gives 100% and just nullifies the effect of the other good players.
Habir, when you have a luxury of 4 points, ahead of the nearest team, and your percentage is so much in great form, so they are in the box seat, of course.
Yeah, and Richmond, I think that's the team where they knew that their season is in line, and I would say Lynch has made a lot of difference to that team, and he showed up on that day. And Port Adelaide, just their forwards couldn't get their game right, I would say. Huge credit to Richmond, the way they're playing. They're coming back to that form. They got Cumberland coming good at the right time. Then they have their like Prestiers, others people who are performing well in the midfield, and back we all know Grimes and others, like they defend well.
Well, to me, it was a nothing game for Melbourne, for Port Adelaide. Of course, did they give up? I'm not sure that's not their attitude, of course. But Dixon didn't fire up, Boak and all that. So it's unusual for them to lose back-to-back games at home. So congratulations to Richmond.
And we'll be back with more of our program after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Brisbane went to town with Carlton, but did not have it go their own way. North Melbourne went down to the informed Swans, and a thriller impaired between the Adelaide Crows and the West Coast Eagles in the Battle of the Birds. Fuad, your comments, please.
Well, if we're going to talk about Brisbane and Carlton, of course, that's a game that Brisbane played fantastic. They've attacked from the start. Carlton left it too late. They were down by about 50 odd points, but they came in the last quarter to within 15 points with 3 minutes to go. Do you think they left it too late, Habir?
Well, yeah, of course they did. The way Carlton's been playing from the last years, we've seen that they haven't been able to play the fourth quarter well. Like last year, we will talk about that. And this year, they're playing like a good fourth quarter, and they're winning the games as well. And this wasn't an exception. But Brisbane, I think even if they lose their way a little bit, they kick wayward aside. But that's a fortress for them. And you need to play each and every quarter to the best of your ability for you to beat them over there. So all credit to Brisbane. Their midfield, their front forwards, all playing well at the moment. So they are coming good. Another team who's coming good at the right time, I suppose. But outside Gabba, that's still a test. Let's see how they come up against other teams.
And then the other team, the other game between Sydney and North Melbourne, of course, at the SCG. We only saw, the only good thing came out of that one is we've seen Sydney improving their percentage, really. I just don't see it any other way.
Well, that has been the case with North Melbourne. For North Melbourne, the only shining light is Nick Larkey at the moment, the way he's playing. Although he's dried with the entries to the forward 50s, but whatever opportunity he's getting, he's like a light shining among all the dark at this stage.
And then, of course, Adelaide in the West, they never win a game in the West, and that was a rare occasion. They went to win against, of course, West Coast Eagle by 17 points. But what a performance from young Darcy. He scored 4 goals, 3 in the last quarter. And what a performance from him, and also actually all the young teams around him. Taylor Walker didn't score a lot, but he performed well. What did you think of the game?
Yeah, now definitely Darcy is a highlight for Adelaide, and he's a good player to see in future. The way he performs under pressures too, so that's pretty good. And huge credit to Josh Kennedy, the way he has entertained us all these years. And now it's time for him to retire. But what a way to retire! 8 goals in that game, even they were not enough. But what a player he has been, and the way he has performed over the years from every angle, from like 700 goals or so, just a fantastic.
But he missed a couple of easy ones in the end, and it could have been 9 or 10. Fantastic performance. Well done, Josh Kennedy.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. Tomorrow night, starting with a crucial match from Marvel Stadium, St Kilda take on Brisbane, and on Saturday, the Western Bulldogs, again from Marvel, play the GWS Giants, and Adelaide at home played North Melbourne, with the Gold Coast at Metricon taking on Geelong. Your thoughts on those matches, Javier?
Well, St Kilda, they have to show up. They've got this season online. I don't think even they can mathematically still make it or not, but there's a lot pride that's associated with that club at the moment. And Brisbane, they are out of their fortress at the moment. They should take advantage of that and put them under a lot of pressure. However, I don't see them putting enough pressure to stop what Brisbane is doing at the moment. So I think to me, it's going to be Brisbane.
I agree with you. Brisbane is just the way they're playing lately. It's just fantastic football. And Western Bulldogs against GWS at Marvel Stadium. I know who I'm going to go for, but I'll let you start first.
Yeah, now look, as I mentioned, GWS Giants have responded well again in the last game. And this might not... I don't think they will get complacent in this one, and this will be a huge scalp for them, make a dent in Western Bulldogs' hopes. And we've had that rivalry going on with the GWS Giants and Bulldogs, so it's going to be more sort of energized GWS Giants, which can make it harder for Bulldogs. But just at the Marvel, I would say Bulldogs might just come on top.
I reckon the Bulldogs, because they've got everything to play for, and if they win this game, another game, and wait for another result or two, they are in the top 8. So I believe Western Bulldogs will be there. Adelaide, North Melbourne. What do you think?
No, I'll leave it to you. To me, it's Adelaide all the way. That's all I can say.
Oh well, yeah, Adelaide Oval. North Melbourne is struggling, so I think that will be another win for Adelaide.
Yeah, and Gold Coast versus Geelong in Metricon. As we always talk about, there could be few factors like weather and others, and then we don't know who they'll be resting as well, Geelong. So there is a good chance for Gold Coast to make a good scalp over there. So they'll come in hard. Although we've seen everything about Geelong, they are thriving in any situation at the moment. However, this time I think Gold Coast might have an edge. I'm just going to go for upset.
Gold Coast. No, I definitely will say Geelong. Sorry, Javier, but I reckon, as we were talking before the program, Geelong have rested most of their players. So if the Dangerfield and Sollywood will come, I think it will be a percentage game as well. That's in my opinion anyway. What do you think?
Thank you, guys. Yeah, definitely. Geelong has all the stacks there. They're going to be very, very good in the finals.
And getting back to the top 8, let's quickly analyse it, guys, and just let's see who's, like Carlton and Richmond are the only 2 teams that they may drop, but highly unlikely. And the only team there's 2 teams as well, St Kilda and Western Bulldogs, but St Kilda got a tough 2 games. Western Bulldogs, not so much. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that they're not tough, as I mentioned before. That Giants are out there to perform, so it make it hard. And against the Hawks as well at Tasmania, I think it's going to be a very hard game for Bulldogs. It's going to be hard for me to see them winning that game. On the other hand, I think Carlton is just in a good position because they're already on 48 points.
Yes.
So they might just hang on. With the other results not going their way. St Kilda could have been a dangerous, but as you mentioned, they've got a hard
couple of games.
Yeah.
But I think Carlton has got the good better chance than the other 2 teams because all they need is to win 1 game out of 2 and then they're guaranteed to go there.
Yeah,
The percentage is a little bit better than Western Bulldogs and St Kilda, so they might be there.
Yeah. To me, it's pretty much all set, the top 8 at the moment. I don't think they...
But I think it's going to go to the wire. So stay tuned, because it's going to be a fantastic finish to the end.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. Interesting thoughts. We will continue with the rest of the previews after the break. Welcome back to the program. Now to our preview of round 22. The Melbourne Demons take on Carlton Blues from the MCG on Saturday night. Both sides will be out to win, as they both can afford to lose. Fremantle and the West Coast played for bragging rights in the Western Australia Derby from Optus Stadium. Sunday, Richmond and Hawthorn clash at the MCG, and Essendon and Port Adelaide will go head-to-head from Marvel Stadium. The real blockbuster will be coming from the SCG, as Sydney will play Collingwood for second spot on the AFL ladder and an opportunity to host a home final. Big stakes there. Fuad, who are you picking?
Well, Melbourne Carlton, that's the game of the round, isn't it? So I would say, I hate to say it, but Melbourne, they've lost, I think, too many games lately after they had a fantastic start to the season. But I think they'll come back. But it's going to be tough. Carlton is a great team as well, and they might come back as well.
Yeah, there will be a lot of introspection going on in both the teams at the moment, Carlton and Melbourne, with especially with going into the finals as well. You want to be on a high ride when you enter, and both the teams are currently not finding their feet at the moment. So it will a lot depend upon the Charlie Curnow, McRae at the front. They can nullify Stephen May and Jack Lever like Collingwood did. That will be a huge advantage. On the other hand, we'll see what happens with Cripps, because that's going to be a big out for them, and it will just be a huge booster for Melbourne as well if he doesn't play. And Fremantle versus West Coast, well, I believe Fremantle are too strong at the moment, and at home they would be too strong.
But I think the other game is between Richmond and Hawthorn. What a game that is going to be at the MCG. I think that is going to be a rivalry, I think. Richmond is trying to cement their top 8 position. Hawthorn is already, they're already there.
Now Hawks, I think they might not be able to live under the pressure of Richmond, because they've got too much at stake, and the way that group seems very hungry at the moment. And with Hawks, don't get me wrong, they can disappoint any team any day the way they're playing. But I think the more hunger will probably get Richmond over the line.
So you're talking about inconsistency, I think, what about the game that we were talking about, Sydney and Collingwood for second spot, I think?
Well, Sydney and Collingwood game, I believe it has the potential to be a very good game. Collingwood will be put to test against Sydney over there. I think the likes of Elliott, who just signed his contract extension as well, so he will be pumping to play, I suppose, the way he has played, especially against Melbourne, the forward tackling pressure, he's done that, and he's come out so good. And their forward tackling pressure was the main thing with Collingwood. Not taking anything away from the Dykos brothers and anyone who plays in the midfield or at the back, Moore and others. But I think that their forward pressure was a very, very good, and it was a high standard. So I think that will probably determine the result in favour of Collingwood. However, Sydney is performing very well as well, and at home they will be a bit stronger for me. And there are pundits who are saying that Collingwood was not performing that well because they were winning very close margins, although they're still winning. But it will be a good test for them.
The biggest test, of course, is a percentage, because we look at Sydney is 127% against 106 from Collingwood. So really, Sydney, and the other thing against them, they're playing away from home, they're playing SCG, and Sydney's unbeatable there. So that's going to be a tough game for Collingwood, but let's not underestimate them. After 11 games, consistency creates success. So who knows?
Yeah, now definitely anyone can win in that one. And Essendon versus Port Adelaide, again that ego sort of comes in for Essendon in this game. So the way Stringer needs to sort of lift his game, and there are few others who need to show up. All the senior players from Essendon, they've been up and down, and there was a lot expected of them. Again, like we're down to like last two games, they should salvage something for their fans and the club, and they need to come up. And with Port Adelaide, I think game against Richmond, although I did say last year that Port Adelaide won't make top 8, but I was thinking that that bad of performances, which the games they could have won, and their performances up forward being good and bad. It's been a lot of difference in their good and bad performance.
Yeah, inconsistent again, and I think Port Adelaide, they need to win that game, but it's going to be tough. They're playing it in Melbourne. Essendon has been the better form team than Port Adelaide in the last 4 or 5, 6 games. So to me, it will be Essendon for sure.
Yeah, no, I'll go for Essendon in this game too.
Thank you, guys. Don't forget to listen to the NEMBC's broadcast of the week this Saturday night at 7:25 p.m. Melbourne against Carlton from the MCG broadcast in the Arabic language with Fuad Andragos from the Multicultural AFL Footy Show and Ryan Barhum. Listen live on the AFL's Matchday app Saturday the 13th of August, 7:25 p.m. And now, Fuad, do you want to introduce the game in Arabic?
Yes. برنامج AFL المتعدد الثقافات سينقل لكم مباراة فريق ميلبورن مع فريق كارلتون من على ملعب الMCG، وسيقدمه لكم فؤاد أندراوس مقدم برنامج AFL Footy Show مع ريان برسوم. ويمكنكم الاستماع لتعليق المباراة من على تطبيق AFL من الساعة 7:25 من مساء يوم السبت 13 سبتمبر.
And this brings me to my tip selections this week. I'm going for Brisbane, Western Bulldogs, Adelaide, Geelong, Melbourne, Fremantle, Richmond, Sydney, and Port Adelaide. Well, that's all we have time for this week. You can also watch us in Adelaide on Channel 44 Friday 6:30 p.m, on Aurora Foxtel TV at 1 p.m. Saturday, and on the NEMBC AFL YouTube. You are listening to this podcast on the Community Radio Network, and the AFL Diversity News in 8 languages can be heard on select national multicultural radio stations. I am Vanessa Gatica, and from our panelists Javier and Fuad, good night, and we shall see you next week.